Jolum here. Another Friday, another Jolum's movie review. Do me a favor, when you're done watching this video, you can check out the past movie review videos I've done on the archives. I got the playlist in the description box. Today I'm going to be talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1990 film Total Recall. Let's get on with the video, shall we? Total Recall is a 1990 American science fiction action film directed by Paul Verhoeven, who directed RoboCop, with Peter Weller as the title character, with a screenplay done by Ronald Shusett, Dan O'Bannon, and Gary Goldman. The film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rachel Ticotin, Sharon Stone, Ronny Cox, and Michael Ironside. Based on the 1966 short story We Can Remember It For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick. Total Recall tells the story of Douglas Quaid, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, a construction worker who receives an implanted memory of a fantastical adventure on Mars. He subsequently finds his adventure occurring in reality as agents of a shadow organization trying to prevent him from recovering memories of his past as a Martian secret agent, aiming to stop tyrannical regime of one Martian dictator, Vilos Cohagen. Ronald Shusett bought the rights to Dick's short story in 1974 and developed the script with O'Bannon, Dan O'Bannon. Although considered promising, the ambitious scope kept the project in developmental hell at multiple studios for over 16 years, seeing 40 script drafts, 7 different directors, and multiple actors cast as Quaid. Total Recall eventually entered the early stages of filming in 1987 under the De Laurentiis Entertainment Group shortly before its bankruptcy. Schwarzenegger, who had long held an interest in the project but had been dismissed as inappropriate for the lead role, convinced Caracol Pictures to purchase the rights and develop the film with him as the star. On an estimated $48 to $80 million budget, making it one of the most expensive films ever made in its time. Filming took place on an expensive set in the studio's Churubusco in Mexico for over 6 months. Cast and crew experienced numerous injuries and illness during the filming. So to bring you up to speed, the early development of Total Recall began in 1974 when producer Ronald Shusett purchased the adaptation rights to the sci-fi writer Philip K. Dick's 1966 short story We Can Remember It For You Wholesale for $1,000. He read the 23-page story by then little-known Pulp Fiction writer in an April 1966 edition of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. Dick's story depicts a meek clerk on Earth named Quail who visits Recall Incorporated to receive a memory implant of being a secret agent on Mars. However, the process uncovers his true identity as a secret agent who previously visited Mars, whose death will bring about an alien invasion. It was renamed Total Recall, and Shusett worked with Dan O'Bannon to write the script. So, O'Bannon exhausted the existing material quickly, as he could only write 30 pages, effectively on the first act only, and an original second and third act were needed. He suggested sending Quaid to Mars. Instead of naming it Quail, it was renamed Quaid. They disagreed over the third act, the former wanting something more dramatic. O'Bannon's ending revealed the handprint on the alien machine as Quaid's, who was a replica of the original, and placing his hand on it grants him total memory recall. O'Bannon described the film ending as lame, as Dick read the script prior to his death in '82, and according to O'Bannon, he enjoyed it. Although studios deemed the script as ambitious and brilliant idea, it was essentially considered unfilmable in part because of the extensive special effects and the high budget that would be required. Soon, the pair moved on to collaborating a script for the sci-fi horror film Alien in 1979. The success of the film, which earned Shusett a developmental deal with Walt Disney Studios. He pursued the Total Recall project at the studio, initially budgeting at $20 million, but the idea didn't progress because the issues with the third act could not be resolved. The project was sold to Dino De Laurentiis Entertainment Group in 1982. Under the De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, Dino De Laurentiis wanted to keep the budget low following the financial failure of Dune in 1984. He wanted to reduce the cost by eliminating Mars entirely, but Shusett and O'Bannon dissented. Problems with finalizing the script and high budget continued to stall Total Recall for the next couple of years. De Laurentiis, in 1987, again considered hiring Richard Rush as director, but De Laurentiis disliked the final featuring of breathable atmosphere on Mars, while Rush supported the idea. De Laurentiis accepted he was wrong after hiring director Bruce Beresford, who was also supporting the ending. Around this time, writer Gary Goldman was offered an opportunity to refine the script, but he turned it down to focus on his own project called Warrior, that he was working on alongside director Paul Verhoeven at Warner Brothers. Beresford began preparations for a version of Total Recall described by Shusett as less gritty and more Spielbergian in tone, and Patrick Swayze was cast as Quaid. Set construction was underway in Australia when DEG filed for bankruptcy in 1988. Approximately 80 crew members were fired and the sets had to be destroyed. By this point, the project had already accrued $8 million in pre-production costs and $6 million in turnaround costs, a process allowing other studios to purchase the idea. Actor Arnold Schwarzenegger became aware of Total Recall in the mid-'80s, either during filming of Commando in '85 or Raw Deal in '86. He liked the script and agreed to pursue it alongside producer Joel Silver while filming Predator in 1987. But the project remained unrealized due to its prohibitive budget and because De Laurentiis didn't think Schwarzenegger was right for the lead role. Following DEG's bankruptcy, Schwarzenegger convinced Andrew G. Vanna and Mario Kassar, co-owners of the independent film studio Carolco Pictures, with whom he had made Red Heat, to purchase the rights to the film for $3 million, including pre-production costs. Schwarzenegger wanted to star in the film, pending rewrites to his satisfaction, and his fame and international appeal justified the studio investing in the necessary budget. Carolco completed its acquisition of the majority of DEG's business and assets in April of 1989. Schwarzenegger was given substantial influence over the project. He retained Shusett as a screenwriter and co-producer alongside Buzz Feasons. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And oversaw script revisions, casting decisions, and set construction. He described himself as effectively as an executive producer without the responsibility, but he involved himself heavily because he wanted the project to work. He received $11 million salary, plus 15% of the film's profits. Schwarzenegger hired Verhoeven as the director after being impressed with his sci-fi film RoboCop, for which Schwarzenegger had been considered in the lead role. Verhoeven had previously been courted by Shusett to direct a film based on his work on Soldier of Orange in 1977, but declined then because he didn't like science fiction. Even so, Verhoeven accepted Schwarzenegger's offer after reading the Mars Hotel scene where Dr. Edgemar attempts to convince Quaid that he is still on Earth. Verhoeven had wanted to avoid special effect heavy films after RoboCop and said he didn't realize how much special effects work would be involved. He requested Goldman be brought in to help with rewrites as well as some core personnel from RoboCop, including a cinematographer by the name of Josh Vacano, production designer William Sandel, and special effects artist Rob Bottin. By this point, approximately 30 drafts had been completely credited to a combination of Shusett and either O'Brien, John Powell, or Stephen Pressfield, among others. Verhoeven read each one and highlighted those he wanted Goldman to reference. In the year 2084, Mars is a colonized world under the tyrannical regime of Vilos Cohagen. He controls the mining of valuable terbium ore, while on Earth, a construction worker by the name of Douglas Quaid experiences recurring dreams about Mars and a mysterious woman. He soon visits Recall, which happens to be a company that implants realistic false memories and chooses one set on Mars with a blue sky, where he is a Martian secret agent. But before the implant is completed, he lashes out, already thinking he is a secret agent, and believing that Cohagen's agency had suppressed Quaid's memories. The Recall employees erase evidence of Quaid's visit and send him home. Next thing you know, he gets attacked by Harry and his colleagues because Quaid revealed his past. His instincts take over as he kills his assailants. When he gets home, he is assaulted by his wife, who claimed he was assigned to monitor Quaid by the agency and their marriage was false memory implant. He soon flees, but is pursued by armed men led by Richter, who happens to be Cohagen's enforcer and Laurie's real husband. Next thing you know, he goes to Mars after receiving a message from Hauser, and he claims that he was brainwashed by Cohagen to become Doug Quaid and conceal his secrets before securing him on Earth. So Hauser instructs Quaid to go to Mars and stop Cohagen. While on Mars, he meets the woman from his dreams, Melina, who knows him as Hauser and believes he is still working for Cohagen. But in his hotel room, he is confronted by Laurie and Dr. Edgemore for a Recall, who explains that Quaid is still at Recall on Earth. But then Quaid notices Edgemore is sweating and kills him. He is soon captured by Richter's men, but Melina rescues him, and Quaid kills Laurie in the process. They escape to Venusville with a taxi driver by the name of Benny, and the mutants led them to a hidden rebel base where Quaid meets their leader Quato, and he has a mutant growing out of the abdomen of his brother named George. He reads Quaid's mind, learning that Cohagen is hiding a 500,000-year-old alien reactor built in a mountain. Once activated, it will produce breathable air, but could also destroy all terbium. Next thing you know, Cohagen's forces start attacking the base, killing the rebels, and Benny the traitor ends up shooting George, and Richter executes Quato. Quaid and Melina was soon brought to Cohagen, who explains that Hauser was his close friend who volunteered to become Quaid, as an elaborate ruse to bypass the mutants' psychic abilities, infiltrate the rebellion and destroy it. Quaid's recall vid had activated him earlier than planned, and Cohagen has been helping him survive the obvious Richter's pursuit. That had to piss him off. Next thing you know, Cohagen orders Hauser's memory to be restored in Quaid and Melina to be reprogrammed as his lover, subservient lover. But they manage to escape to the mines below the reactor. Next thing you know, Benny, Richter, and his men attack them, but the pair outwits and kills them all. And then Cohagen waits them in the reactor control room, claiming that activating will destroy the planet. But Quaid throws it down a tunnel, a bomb. The explosive decompressant blows Cohagen out of the surface, where he suffocates and dies. Quaid activates the reactor before he and Melina are also blown out. The reactor melts planet's ice into gas, bursts to the surface, forming a breathable atmosphere, saving Quaid, Melina, and the rest of Mars. As everyone beholds the now blue sky, Quaid wonders if everything was a dream before he and Melina end up kissing. Total Recall was released on June 1st, 1990, distributed by TriStar Pictures, with a production company of Carolco Pictures. It was anticipated to be one of the year's most successful films on its release. The film earned approximately $261.4 million worldwide, making it the fifth highest grossing film of the year. Its critical reception was mixed, with reviews praising the film for its themes of identity and questioning reality, but criticizing content perceived vulgar and violent. The practical special effects were well received, earning the film an Academy Award, and the score by Jerry Goldsmith has been praised. as one of his best works. Since its release, Total Recall has been praised for its ambiguous ending, positioning whether Quaid's adventures are real or fantasy, and it also has been analyzed for themes of authoritarianism and colonialism. Retrospective reviews called it one of Schwarzenegger's best films and placed it among the best sci-fi films ever made, alongside comic books and video games. Total Recall has adapted into a 1999 television series called Total Recall 2070. An early attempt at a sequel based on Dick's The Minority Report became a 2002 standalone film, The Minority Report, and a 2012 remake, also titled Total Recall, fails to replicate the success of the original. Overall rating for this movie is a 90 out of 100. It started Arnold Schwarzenegger's streak of blockbuster films, starting with this one, followed up by Kindergarten Cop, then Terminator 2 Judgment Day, then Last Action Hero, and then True Lies in 1994 with Jamie Lee Curtis. Those are the movies I plan to review someday on Joelum's Movie Review. Until next week, adios.
No.